ICMTU, which is short for I Can't Make This Up, is a live comedy show hosted by AJ Dunk, spelled all caps. ICMTU brings people together from different backgrounds by sharing true stories that have happened in their lives. If you haven't already, please take a second to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification. Also, feel free to share the video. Jorge, before you tell this story, I just have one question for you.
Yeah.
Do you pinky promise that this story is true?
AJ, I pinky promise.
Pinky promise. Pinky promise.
All right. Jorge, if you would, please share this story that you cannot make up.
Oh boy. All right. Part of me feels bad for telling the story because like now this is out on the internet and it's out in the world, and my mom hates this story. She hates it so much. And it's back when I was in middle school. All right, let me paint the picture. This is in Orlando, Florida, which isn't a bad by any means. You know, it's got its pockets or whatever, but we didn't live in like a bad area or anything like that. Except
You're starting off with lies. You're starting off with lies, but okay, we'll see. Talking about Orlando, Florida's not bad. Okay.
Bold of you to say that from Jersey. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. It's bold. Yeah. When bulls come from like the pits of America, we can't really shoot shots at each other.
Ooh, the Garden State. But I'll let you finish. I shall come back.
Okay, all right. The Sunshine State. You know the gardens need the sunshine. Is all I'm saying. It's all I'm throwing out there.
You're right. We need each other. All right. I need you to tell the story so I can ask questions. There you go. All right.
Okay. You know that scene in like The Lion King when Mufasa is showing Simba like all the land and it's all like light soaked and everything, and he's like, "What's that really dark, dangerous area over there?" And he's like, "Don't ever go over there, you dumb shit. Don't ever do that." That pocket, that dark area was the apartment complex next to my apartment complex. Like birds singing, sunshine, and all that stuff. This apartment complex, though, like from dusk till dawn, was like murders and shootings and stabbings and stuff. All sorts of ridiculous shit. All right, so this is like back in I was in middle school, so like 2000, 2001, 2002, a solid 20 years ago.
That's fine.
That just hit me that it's 20 years ago, you know. Anyway, all right. So, a little preface. My brother's 12 years older than I am, and so obviously when I'm growing up, I look up to him. He's my older brother, and he had this black trench coat that I loved. Like I thought it was the coolest fucking thing. And then when I got a little bit older, in middle school, he got me one. So I've got this trench coat, and it was a nice, cool, blistery Florida day. So we're talking like what, 80 degrees, something like that. But it was in the fall, and I was going out to play with my friends back when all, you know, kids would do that instead of on their screens all the time, right? And we're going out to play, and I've got this trench coat on, and it's during the day, so we're out playing in our apartment complex, and then me and my friend Kevin, we go over to this other one, you know, the dark place, the place you should never go once the light sets. So it's during the day, it's fine, none of us are worried. Kids are out there playing in like the playgrounds and stuff, like it's all good. And it's an apartment complex, and we're walking down, you know, just the street. You got like apartments on either side, and you got the road, and it's inside of this complex where the speed limit is like 10. You know, okay. This car comes around the corner from behind us and just like bolts down the road, and like we legitimately had to sort of like jump out of the way. And so he's like, we jump out of the way. This car like goes through, keeps going, and I yell out, "Hey, slow down!"
Oh, you motherfucker. Sorry.
See? Now I know I done fucked up. It was at that moment I found out I fucked up because I saw this car's brake lights come on, stopped, and the doors opened up. And like, you know that scene in like every 90s action or 2000s action movie where it's like, that's what happened. My boy Kevin, who we'll just say is a little more street smart than say this awkward white kid who doesn't, or this awkward white passing kid who doesn't pick up on the signals of ladies who are sending them the signals, right? Doesn't really get what's going on. But I look over and he goes, run, and takes off. And I look and like two guys are coming at me, like two big guys. They look like security guards. They're coming at me, and like a million things are running through my head. Like, I'm 13. What's happening? This is absurd. Who are those men? You know, all these things are running through my head, and finally, like, the brain to foot connection happens, and I bolt. So I'm already, you know, all of this is sort of happening in like slow motion and fast motion at the same time. My boy Kevin bolts. I don't see him anymore. I'm like, okay, we got to split up because there are two of them, and like, you know, we can't be together, obviously. So I run. I don't know, like Kevin goes this way, I run this way. Except I've only ever been to this apartment complex maybe once, maybe twice, and I end up running in a big circle. I just loop around this building, and like those guys knew. They're literally waiting for me, cut me off. And like my boy Kevin is nowhere to be found. It's literally just me and like this patch of grass in front of the apartment complex. Nobody is around now. You know, remember how I said that like kids were out playing and like there are people out there enjoying life and stuff? No, man. Nobody's around. AKA no witnesses. These guys come up, they grab me. They grab me by this trench coat by the shoulder. This is how they like, they've got me now because I can't get out of the coat. They've got me by like the collar and the shoulder and everything. And like it's weird to me that you're laughing only because I was laughing. But now again, looking back, that was my like crisis response. That was the way my body handled like, oh hey dude, this is very bad. Why not laugh about it? You know? And I feel like maybe I should bring this up in therapy or something now. Now that I've researched.
Oh shit.
So these guys grab me and they're like, what the fuck did you say? And I'm like still laughing and I'm like, you should have slowed down. Which is a ballsy move for a 13-year-old kid to say, who's literally in the clutches of two guys who could yeet me into the sun.
Yes.
So they got me and they're dragging me, like literally dragging me back to their car. And at this point, they sort of cut they cut across. So there was that building that I had circled around, and then there was like another one next to it. Instead of going where they came from, they kind of went a longer way around, if I'm remembering right. Again, this is like 20 years ago, and I've binge drinked a lot since then. They end up sort of crossing over like the back of another building that's got apartments and everything, which turns out is where my boy Kevin went to. My boy Kevin went to a friend of his whose dad was Terry Crews before Terry Crews, right? Just like angelic, muscular, just like destroyer of worlds. And he's like, hey, and he's saying this from like the second story, so he's almost like king of the area, looking down on these peasants, you know, on what's happening. And he's like, hey, the fuck you doing to that kid? What do you think you're doing? And like, so they have an exchange of words or whatever. Meanwhile, they're holding me with a death grip. You know, there's no way for me to get it. I'm just like ragdolling around. And so they have this exchange or whatever. And I guess they finally decided that I wasn't worth it or whatever. So they throw me to the ground. And like, I remember looking up at them and they go, you almost got lost. And that was the last thing they said to me. And like, I will take that to my grave, right? Just like, you almost got lost. And so I'm like still sort of like shaking, giggling a little bit, probably because I'm an idiot, and really sort of like processing all of this. And they, you know, they leave. get back in their car, I guess. I don't know. So like I'm still sort of floating in this like what just happened, what almost just happened. And so I go home because that's, you know, I'm not gonna stay out and like, oh yeah, no, everything's fine, I'm gonna go play.
Oh, it hit you. Go ahead.
Yeah, it finally clicked. So so I go home and like I'm at this point, like my nerves are starting to like, you know, calm down, and I'm starting to have like normal body responses, like shaking and stuff like that. And my mom was like, "Ay, mijo, so what's wrong?" Because she could see it in my face and everything. And I know I didn't want to tell her. I don't want to worry her because like what's done is done. I didn't go anywhere. But like, you know, I can't lie to my mama. I'm a mama's boy through and through, and she saw what was up. So I tell her what happened, and she like phased through the kitchen counter to get to me in the most efficient way possible, and like hugs me and like holds me with this death grip, and she's like, "I'm Neil." And she's like tearing up, and she's like deathly afraid of what just happened. And my dad is just stoically like, "Well, time to call the police." And so he calls the cops. They show up because like they're not just gonna take this like sitting down. And the cops show up. They're like, all right, you know what happened. I sort of explain it to them, and they're like, all right, well, I mean, the best we can do right now is like go look for him. So there's two cruisers came up. So I guess like 2 or 3 police cruisers or whatever. Yeah, when it's a small white passing child in a Florida suburb, it's fine. You know, you can call the police for that. So they come up. I get in the back of the car, and thankfully, thank God, this is the only time I've been in the back of a police cruiser. Hopefully the only time I'm in the back of a police cruiser.
Like you're not, you might want to find some wood.
I just knocked on stuff. Word. So I mean, this is pretty much the end of it. But I wanted to add this like note. We're searching. We get in the car. I'm in like the back car, and there's one forward that's sort of doing the forward scouting, and I'm telling the cop that's I'm in the car with. They're asking me like, you know, what did he look like, all this stuff, and I'm explaining what this person looked like, again, just like a security guard looking type dude. My brother is just coming home from work, and he's walking from the front office of our complex. My brother, who looks a lot like me, aka like just this big, you know, not threatening in the slightest or whatever. I'm telling them what these people look like, and the front cop car sees him and is like, "Yep, that's the guy." So they stop, get out of the car, and like start aggressively questioning him. And I'm like, no, that's my brother. This is 100% not him. And like they're like, that's his brother. That's his brother. So yeah, we go back to the complex. They're clearly not there anymore. You know, obviously they get a statement from the dad who came down and was like, you know, a second, third dad for me. Has saved my life, really. Made sure that I didn't get lost. And that's it. Yeah, that's the story of how I was almost kidnapped.